Thank you, Stanford. Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of Phillip Capital India Private Limited, we welcome you to the Q1 FY21 conference call for HeidelbergCement India Limited. On the call, we have with us Mr. Jamshid Naval Cooper, Managing Director, and Mr. Anil Sharma, Chief Financial Officer. I would like to mention on behalf of HeidelbergCement India Limited and its management that certain statements that may be made or discussed on this conference call may be forward-looking statements related to future developments and current performance. These statements may be subject to a number of risks, uncertainties, and other important factors which may cause the actual developments and results to differ materially from the statements made. HeidelbergCement India Limited and the management of the company assumes no obligation to update or alter the forward-looking statements, whether as a result of new information or future events or otherwise. Also, HeidelbergCement India Limited has uploaded a copy of the presentation on the exchange and its website. Participants may download a copy from these websites. I will now hand over the floor to the management of HeidelbergCement for the opening remarks, which will follow by the Q&A. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vaibhav, and thank you everybody for joining this earnings call. Wishing everybody a healthy and a safe time. Times are a little difficult as the environment suggests. Most of the time we hear every day something or the other from different parts of the country. We say that with God's grace we sail through all this difficult times, and we are back to normal in the years to come. You have received our presentation. I'm just running you through this basic first slide, which is on slide number 3. You have seen the industry development. It's nothing big which has happened in the month of April. It was a total lockdown, and it was but natural that you will have such type of volume degrowth, 85% degrowth. It is nothing big. Coming to May, the things started improving, and in the month of June, things further improved. In terms of capacity utilization, you will find across the industry that things are ramping up gradually. It will not happen instantly, but yes, the trajectory which it is showing seems to be encouraging. That's I can say for the trend. In terms of drawing your attention to the next slide, what did we do for our business continuity? So we are first more concerned about our employees and the people, including our channel partners. So we are ensuring that these people do a business safely. Our people are safe. The families are safe because going forward, if there is a harm to the human life, then we are not doing justice to our business. So that is our first priority. Safety, health and safety always remains our topmost priority. We continuously are communicating with our employees, whether it is at any point of where they are located, and including our channel partners. We are in constant touch. Our teams are in constant touch with our business associates, including our transporters and vendors as such. So we are ensuring that constant touch is maintained. Work from home is a new normal. We started in our head office, and now it is becoming much more of a prevalent practice across. I think the efficiencies have not come down. There is no evidence that we have lost out on any efficiency parameter. So things will become the way it is in the near future. I think work from home will become a new normal. Safety of our assets, that is the second foremost priority. So when we were asked to lock down, we took a little more time, 3-4 days, to shut down the plant, mothball the plant properly, so that at any point of time we can jumpstart our assets, and that our team did a very wonderful job. And when we wanted to start the plant, at one click of a button and the machines were on and it was rolling. Optimization measures on cost. We have negotiated many of our contracts with our vendors. We have negotiated many of the terms, including the period of the contract, whether it was a reduction and those efficiency parameters, whatever, because everybody understands today's time. And because of our excellent relationships with all the channel partners and vendors, they have been very understanding and forthcoming to support us, and the way we have supported them in the past, and we continue to support them now also. On the special focus on working capital management, cash is king. We worked significantly on this particular parameter. Collections from the market were done at rocket speed, and with the there were some small minor delays. Our vendors also accepted it, so the cash flow we have ensured that it was remaining in top class condition. On coming to remaining as focus into the market and remaining top of mind recall. So we did a digital campaign every day of the lockdown period. The first lockdown period, we were giving out digital snippets on social media or on WhatsApp, and they reached out to our dealers, retailers, and everyone, so that we are remaining in constant touch with them. Very relevant topics were covered, which were of the need of the hour that time. On CSR initiatives, we have worked most of the time because the communities around the plant needed support. The people around the markets also needed support. There was a lot of, emotional support which was supposed to be given at that point of time. And I'm happy to say that our teams here have risen to that occasion, and they have done a fantastic job of keeping in touch with the people, communicating with them, and, helping them, to be emotionally strong. Coming to the financial and operational highlights, we have a zero lost time injury. So this is our target, to have a zero harm company, deliver a company that is zero harm. On the volumes decreased because of the lockdown. We are a 100% blended cement company, that you are aware of it. On fixed costs, we have focused more and more, and we continue to focus as part of our improvement plans. Grid power, which has come down, dependence has come down to just now 59% to 60%, and this we will continue to work on in the near future also. So that will be our focus area in future too. EBITDA, there is an improvement of 1% on the EBITDA, and this is supported more because of the prices. We continue to work on a negative working capital. So this is one more feather in the cap of Heidelberg Cement India, that it achieves this sort of an efficiency despite the most difficult times also. Net cash, we are of 1.6 billion as of 13 June. We are net cash positive. In the coming to page 6 of the presentation, you have seen that there is a 31% drop in volume, almost 32%, and the similar thing is reflected in the EBITDA also. So nothing big, because I would say that we should start thinking the economic clock, I would say, should be reset. The world economic clock needs to be reset, rather than talking about what is the loss we will make during the financial year 2021. We should say that this financial year is not of 12 months, but it is of 10 months. Probably that will step up the sentiments also, and we will get a realistic view about things. What is lost for a month need not crib about it. That is lost forever. We have got to look for a better future and focus more on that. On our page 7, EBITDA per ton bridge, which we talk about. So you can see it, how the waterfall has been. GSR has improved, raw material improved, power, fuel improved. Little bit negative on the freight, but was but natural because of the rail movement was lower. To a certain extent, rates were not available by the railways. Road movement had to take place. The market, the prices were going up consistently. So that was the point that you had to encash that with whatever availability was there. And there were some other costs which took away certain costs which took away the benefit, the gain we had. So anyway, but then this happens, but all said and done, that there was always a counterbalance to it. Price was good, otherwise we would have had to suffer. So that has not happened, and that has not happened, I suppose, with the industry as such. Coming to the volume share, 52% of our road volume is we are catering to our customers to 52% by road. and about 14% of our volumes are in this our premium bag, quality bag, and minimum very small quantity we sell under non-trade. So that we continue to pursue that same strategy, and because in the COVID times, the one which will get most hit is the non-trade, and it leads to a danger that if you do not come out of this non-trade, only you will bring in bad practices in the business. So we have told our team to be away from these type of things and let us work on a clean system. So on compliances, we are very strong. On the coal, there was a 38% basis lower than that, so that has benefited us. On the one of the biggest initiatives from a social responsibility point Heidelberg Cement has launched was the Annam scheme. What we have done is, for the group with as the India operations, we decided that for every bag we sell, we will donate 1 rupee, keep aside, and that will be used to feed the underprivileged by giving them food, grains, and things like that. So this is one area which we have worked on very seriously, and we hope that the biggest risk the country runs today is unemployment and people, some people sliding down below the poverty line. And if that happens, that is a very big issue. If the government will not be able to support all these initiatives, the corporate world has to come forward to support this in some way or the other. Otherwise, we fear that there could be social unrest also. So let us start doing our own bit, and under that scheme, we try to do this. Coming to our digital media campaign, we have become a little more digital in this last 3-4 months, and this is one of the document what you are seeing on page 10. These are some of the initiatives trying to involve our channel partners, trying to involve our teams, internal teams also, internally also trying to pep up the morale of the people, so that this COVID thing, the clouds of COVID really do not drench us and keep lower our morale. Because if the morale is high, then I think everything is good, then everything looks rosy. Coming to outlook, as the outlook is there, demand reduction in urban areas is visible, and we are seeing a good push from the rural markets, because central India, the labor market is little positive. Working capital on the liquidity side, we, as I mentioned, that it is we are good, and we are ensuring that our channel partners are also advised to keep a track the way we are looking at the market, and we are trying to teach them that they should also conduct their business in today's times. Reduced availability of trucks and drivers was one of the big challenge, and we are meeting it, and we have been able to mitigate. The team has been very, very agile to this, and they have really worked to see that the materials are dispatched on time. Energy prices will remain stable. I don't think there is too much worry on that count, but again it will depend how things pan out. But because of energy, there was impact on the power plants shutting down at many places, and the fly ash was not available, so the fly ash prices went up little bit. Input and raw materials we have to be sourced from longer leads, so that has resulted into those other costs, what you are seeing, those costs which are up. Manpower availability at railway yards did not allow us to push out rakes many of the times, and whatever rakes went there, they were stuck up. So, but anyway, the railway was not enforcing or levying damages and wharfages so much in the initial stages, so it was a tolerable system. Optimization on all capex items, we have optimized it, and we are very tight-fisted right now on capexes. We are just kept on hold whether it is a recruitment or a capex, it is always, everything is on hold. The bare minimum essentials we are trying to do. Let me tell you before I end this, that while you are looking at our results, you will find that we have remained fully compliant compliant. We have not made any provisions which are not required. Neither we have, we have kept our systems so updated that, whatever is for month-to-month settlements which we are doing, it's a absolutely compliant way of producing the results. That's why you may find that, our growth may not be reflected so sharp or something like that. But yes, whatever is, it is there in front of us, and we continue to deliver in the months to come, also in the next quarters also, and we are gearing up ourselves in all possible ways, because times will remain uncertain, and this uncertainty is not going to go out of business. The game today is not the size that matters today, it's the agility, and the agility, speed and adaptability. That is the critical parameters of our business. If we are, and this is what we are trying to build it in our company, that we got to resonate with the times, and we got to, then only we will be able to tide this storm which is in front of us. So, and thank you once again for being with us, and I can answer your questions thereafter. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may please press star, then 1 on their touchtone telephone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star, then 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Anyone who wishes to ask questions, please press star, then 1. The first question is from the line of Dhaval Joshi from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi. Good afternoon, sir, and thanks for the opportunity. Just one question, sir. Quarter-on-quarter prices have been, grown pretty good. I mean, 4 to 5%, if I'm not mistaken, in central region per se. Why there has been, a bit disappointment in, pricing realization front for the quarter?
The prices have improved by 2.5%.
That is a year-on-year, sir. I'm asking, I mean, even in quarter-on-quarter, prices have been grown pretty well. So is there any more, discounts or anything which we are offering to the dealers or something like that, or in general?
No. Our prices in the quarters have been very high earlier also. So, we have not really tinkered too much with the prices. Whatever, our price lines were in the March also, quarter ended was very high.
Yeah. Okay. So, fine. So you have not taken the price increase the way,
Yes. There is a limit to everything in the market. It can take beyond. There is a, in the previous quarter, we were already at a high level. There is a material availability in the market also. It is by increasing the prices further, you are just only inviting competition from neighboring states to come in more and more.
Got it. Yeah. And sir, just one question, one more. What is the current, I mean, it's too early, but how is the trend now in July? I mean, especially after starting of monsoon, in terms of demand only.
Demand has been okay. I would say not bad. I would say the prices are also very stable. Not too much of a problem on this side count. And I'll be right now, very recently that we have seen some monsoons entering some places, but the first shower also did not impact the prices. I think the people are wanting cement there, so the demand is there and it's moving. I think right now there is no question of worry. We may see some things happening once the showers are very heavy or something later on.
Okay. So no major drop from June to July. You're saying?
Not really.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks so much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajesh Ravi from HDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. Good afternoon and congrats to the team. Good set of numbers. Sir, you explained on the pricing part. Also, if you could explain on the other expenses, what all went into achieving that around 30% reduction on absolute basis YOY. That would be helpful. And second question would be on, in terms of, though you have put on hold capex plans at all. But if at all, recently you mentioned that you are exploring some greenfield opportunities. So what would that be? Thank you.
So, guys, answering your last question first, in terms of our greenfield, we are, as you said, that we are looking at other things which are there available with us in the pipeline. Because of this whole lockdown thing, okay, everything has been put to a standstill. The governments are not talking at the moment. There is nobody in the government offices to really talk about these things. So we are just keeping it on hold till such time. We cannot even travel now. Okay, there is a big issue.
Correct.
So, then even if you have to meet somebody, okay, the other fellow is not available to meet. He's not willing to meet on the other side. So, I think it is little premature, but I think in the next quarter or so, things should be more clearer. So, we will inform you as and when it happens.
Yeah. No, from a market perspective, which market you are exploring to, expand?
It is everywhere. Right now, see, the greenfield could happen in the west also. One side, if it could happen, it will happen in the west side. But that expansion plans are there. If anything comes in central, east, wherever it is, we are open to it.
Okay. Great.
On the path of the cost, I mean, you can explain to.
If you understand correctly, your question is with respect to reduction in cost during this quarter.
30% reduction which we have achieved in other expenses on absolute basis, 86 crore going down to 61 crore. We understand there is a volume impact. Yeah, but what else which you could control, which led to, which cushioned the impact, volume loss impact?
So basically, Mr. Ravi, this other expenditure comprises of the both parts. Some part is related to variable, some is the fixed.
Right, sir.
That the variable cost, that is the prorated based on the volume reduction, that cost reduced during this quarter. And in the future, whenever the volume increase, that cost also directly will be on working. But some of the expenditures are very fixed in nature, and we have taken various measures to optimize during the lockdown. Those expenditure always be on the radar of the management to optimize, and that will continue in future. And now your question is whether this reduction of 30% will be sustainable. The answer is basically it depends upon the volume development and the situation in the quarter to come, and accordingly then we can optimize the cost.
Yeah. See, there are certain costs, which like in running auxiliaries, essential services. Okay,
right.
Those things will continue to incur. Only thing that can get diluted when the volumes go up. So they become smaller, look smaller. Otherwise, they will continue to exist with us.
Okay. So on this line only, if I see your FY19 annual report breakup, so it's like, I just want to understand the 70 crore, it was a connection of force and space. So would that be largely a variable cost because your volumes are down? This will fall down largely in the same proportion?
It depends, because the stores and spares also again comprises of some of expenditure which are fall under the consumables. Those are largely related to volume, but some of the expenditure related to maintenance, and those maintenance depend upon when you take the plant shutdown. And during plant shutdown, then those expenditure you need to incur. These are you can say semi-fixed kind of nature, and little bit change with the volume, but not prorated based on the volume. This cost can't move either downward or upward.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Bhavin Chheda from Enam Holdings. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. In the slide you have given the industry numbers till May. Any idea on the June numbers? Were they almost flattish YOY?
I think should be better.
June should have been better than last year's 28 million ton number.
Yeah. Flattish, in central it should be a little better.
Okay, central it should be a little better. And you mentioned that July 2 also looks to be better purely on a YOY basis.
Maybe July may be flattish also.
July may be flattish. Okay. So
I because monsoons have started now. Now you're getting back to normal.
Right. You're getting back to normal. Okay. So, yeah, I was just trying to see that industry slide only, which you have shared, a very interesting slide on a monthly number. So last year, August to October had a big fall. Obviously, one of the reason was the late monsoons, and that's the reason that dispatches overall on a India basis were down. But this time monsoon has been on time and front end days. So are we also expecting a very big growth numbers in August, September, October? Because obviously sub lag impact of shutdown would also be felt as construction activities and all those start picking up in August, September, since almost everything also opening up. So, could we headed for a stronger type of an environment in August, September, October? How is your feeling like?
Little mixed feelings here, because there are markets which are being sometimes on and off shut down.
Right.
Various states and every district, every little bit of uncertainties prevail. But the other good part of the whole thing is that the government is clear about it, that the building industry should continue to operate.
Okay.
So this is one good feature which we must always capitalize on this, that the government earlier when the lockdown happened, they said everything shut down. Okay. Thereafter they realized that the building industry is an employment generator, so they should not stop it, and they allowed it. And this time also in many places where the shutdowns are taking place, which we keep hearing from in market, where not our plants but in some other places where it has been a shutdown, they are allowed to operate the cement plants and the construction business. So even if you look at in a lockdown situation, during the morning, the cement shop and building materials are opening. Okay, they open up in the morning and close down by 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock. So this is happening. So, and of course, you must all appreciate one thing, that this construction labor can be deployed at a farm for a certain period. Beyond that, that sustenance cannot happen. So these poor people have to come back for work. They are into a position where they will come back to the construction sites and the construction will continue.
Sure. And is the raw material cost for you, the benefits of the lower coal prices largely captured, or we would see some more benefit flowing into quarter two also?
So we are going by spot purchases. So right now, whenever the prices are there, we have got a certain stock of about 30 days of stock. So that is not too big a thing to really worry about, or make us.
I'm saying you will see further savings.
Maybe you can say about 10-15 rupees a ton at best.
Okay. And my last.
Sometimes the petcoke price also started inching up.
Okay. And my last question, what was your region-wise sales mix in the quarter? If you can share the state-wise or sales.
The sales mix is virtually 85% we are under trade.
No, I mean region-wise.
Region-wise, I would prefer not to give because of certain competitive issues.
No problem. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to ensure that the management is able to address questions from all participants in this conference call, please limit your questions to 2 per participant. For any further questions, you may come back for a follow-up. The next question is from the line of Kamlesh Jain from Prabhudas Lilladher. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. Sir, if I see your volumes, it has fallen by roughly around 32%. Even if we see pan-India presence companies, their volumes have fallen 33-34%. And your market, like the central region, has been least impacted because of the COVID. So despite that, we have a fall of 32%. So I know that April was entirely locked down, but even in May and June, like say your regional peers have done far better as compared to us. So what has been the case? Like have we been little bit late in terms of like say restarting the plants or restarting the dispatches?
Kamlesh, it was not the plants which had a limitation, it was the logistics which had a limitation. Okay. So, it was the market reach. If your trucks are going to get held up on the roads, then, police is not going to allow them, and there was a lot of restrictions which were happening. So, we sell into certain markets. Maybe we were not able to load many rakes also. Okay. So that is also one of the reasons our dispatches came down. Because loading rakes was also not becoming a viable solution for us because the material was not getting sold after reaching. So we said wherever the material we are getting advance payments and cash down, let us sell in those markets. So I don't think we did badly on this. Let more numbers come in and you will see that how others have also panned out. I am very clear about it that Heidelberg has done should have done relatively better. And I don't know. I can't comment on others, but yes, we'll see. Let the results come in more and more.
But one thing also, Kamlesh, we can add here that when we are comparing the volume development on year-on-year basis, we are comparing with the June 2019, and luckily June 2019 was the highest sale in that quarter by this company. So maybe it may be a little bit misleading if we compare the volume in percentage. In absolute term, if you see, I think it will be comparable. But like MD sir says, that let us wait for the more results of the cement companies, and then we will understand how fairly this company has done during COVID-19 and difficult situation.
And so secondly, we have increased our volumes by our capacity by 20% through debottlenecking. So as the market expands, so would we be focused to expand the volumes at the cost of lower realization? Because over the last 3-4 years, our volumes have grown by hardly 1% odd. I know that there were capacity constraints, but even now, now we have 20% additional capacity available, around 1 million tons. So would we be, pushing the volumes at lower realizations, or we would be, happy with having higher prices and higher, margins?
If you want to gain 10% volume, additional volume, and if you have to cut down the prices by 7%, it is not going to work. So I can do a battle and I will lose on 90% also. So I think getting market share is for us, the target is very simple, that to get market share, if we are getting a premium brand, premium positioning and a premium pricing, only then we are going to go increasing, because this is a gradual, slow story, but it is a permanent change.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Sumedha Srinivasan from ICICI Prudential Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for taking my question. So you had mentioned that grid usage is about 59-60%, which would gradually go down in the future. So is there any plans of any waste heat recovery plant set up, or any renewable sources, solar or wind or anything?
So we are looking at solar and we are looking at also third-party outsourcing. We will keep increasing our share of outsourced power.
But at the same time, on your question with respect to waste heat recovery, just to inform you that we have already installed waste heat recovery power plant in the year 2016. So that is already there. And now we are working on the renewable energy.
Any increase in capacity in waste heat recovery is planned?
No, at the moment we are not adding any kiln. So, it is right now the optimum what we can utilize. On
Right.
3 kilns, on 3 kiln basis, it is right now optimum.
Okay. And solar, is there any, by when would it be coming up, the solar plant?
It is in progress. The work has held up because of this COVID situation. The contractors are not able to complete the job.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Naveen Sahadev from Edelweiss Securities. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Naveen.
Good afternoon, sir, and congratulations on maintaining the high EBITDA per ton despite the challenging environment. Sir, I had questions. One is on the current run rate. So given that Bihar is a sizable sales exposure that the company has, and also the COVID situation as well as floods that we keep seeing in the media, so are we seeing any major drop in volume from that particular state? Because as you said, Central could be possibly by and large steady, as you said, I think in previous questions. But is one of the states where we supply Bihar seeing a major impact?
Naveen, for us, Bihar is hardly anything. We hardly sell any material there. Not for us.
Okay. No, I thought maybe that could be Satna player.
For us, it is a very, very virtually negligible, I would say.
Oh, okay. And my second question then was on prices. If I compare with, let's say, the March quarter, our trade sales have gone up from 85 to 89%. Also, there is some increase in the share of premium cement. So, given that, the sequential increase in realizations, which is a little under 2%, and the kind of hikes that we were at least hearing from the market, it seems a little on the low side. I know one of the participants did ask that, but I just wanted to understand this because there is an improvement on the trade side also in the premium side. So are we missing anything? Is it more discounts or what could be the challenge?
No, I don't think we are missing out anything. We are, as far as our provisions and discounts are concerned, I can assure you one thing, that we will never keep a provision or we will not delay a provision ever. Okay. Whatever is there, it is upfront, it is given in the month and it is distributed and put into the ledgers every month. So there will be no surprises in the future. I can only say that much. As far as our prices are concerned, you can check out from the market at the retail counter level. Okay, they are on the upper side. Maybe there is sometimes, it happens that, certain costs go up, but the discounts, no way they are gone up. There is some catching up. Some other brands would have done some catching up on aligning their discount structure. That's why you might be finding some changes in that.
Okay. And so just one more question, if I may, please. Is solar power now the next development you're looking at from a cost efficiency perspective? And if yes, then how much is the difference between, let's say, the cost from solar visualized versus the grid power?
So, Naveen, right now we are looking at a 5 megawatt sort of a thing putting up in the Central India plant. And we are exploring other possibilities to put up something more here and there. Also, basically on two counts. One is also the futuristic view on compliance, number one. Futuristic view on CO2 footprint, which we are working on. So we are, that what will be we have made a roadmap for 2030, and we are pursuing that with the angle view of that, we have to come down our CO2 content per kg of cement, per ton of cement has to come down significantly lower than what. Although we are today 100% blended cement company and our CO2 content is quite low, I would say, compared to many of on Indian standard basis. But yes, we are still saying that, okay, we can do still better and we will achieve that.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, please enter star, then 1. Please note, this is a final reminder for questions and no further reminders will be placed after this. The next question is from the line of Gaurav Rateria from Morgan Stanley. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for taking my questions. Sir, two questions. Firstly, any color on what the demand drivers are right now? Do you break your entire region into like top 10, top 15 cities and the rest of the other regions? And is there any divergence in the demand pattern you are seeing across that?
Yeah, so Gaurav, we follow this very closely and we follow the tier system of where we sell, where we don't sell. And there is clear-cut indication that what we sold in Q4, what we sold in tier not as in central India don't have metros, but in tier 1, 2 and 3 tier cities, the sales has come down and it has moved to tier 5, 6 and villages. There has been a step up in those areas. So I won't be able to give you the right numbers right now, but yes, we are monitoring it month after month, how this planning is taking place and what are the resources that will be required to cater to such type of demands which are there. So the team is constantly on top of it.
Okay. Sir, just data bookkeeping questions. The increase in diesel prices, is that currently already in your cost structure or it's likely to reflect in the coming quarter? And secondly, on the power cost side, what is the differential between a grid power cost, let's say, versus the third-party sourcing and WHRS if you do? Thank you.
On the side of you asked one question. Diesel price. Diesel price is already passed on into the system and it is already part of the freight structure already there. We have a system that the moment the freight changes beyond a certain percentage, we have an understanding with our transporters that that factor is immediately calculated and given to them automatic. So if it reduces, it is automatic, and if it increases also it is automatic. So it takes place within 3 days of the change. So that has happened already. The other question you asked was
basically price difference between
WHR
and almost you can say.
Usually just third party source. Third party source at least to 1 rupee 50 paisa. Yeah. 1 rupee 50 paisa would be the difference.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ritesh Shah from Investec Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, my first question is, how did the lead distance pan out in Q4 versus Q1?
Minor increase by about 10 kilometers or so.
Okay. And sir, just a continuation to this question, when the demand conditions are tough, typically based on your experience, does the lead distance increase or reduce for the industry? Typically, what should happen?
It depends. I think gradually it should stay at the place where it is, because the markets where you are selling, they are not changing. Okay, unless you are closer to a metro city and then you are not selling in those metro cities and then you have to move out to a long distance lead, then it's a different thing. So there will be some changes which will happen in the realignment on freights will happen. Okay, because as the one question which was asked by Gaurav in terms of how this demand has changed. So now you are getting into rural markets. Okay, so those minor changes will be there.
Okay, thanks for that. And sir, my second question is, hello?
Yeah.
Sir, my second question is, normally we have annual incentives which we give out to dealers. Is that usually accounted in Q1 when it comes to P&L? So how does the accounting work? So I think there were a couple of questions on pricing, so I was just trying to relate to it. Was that one of the variables, or just trying to understand that, sir?
So in terms of annual discounts, they are not confirmed yet ever. If at all we give, okay, it is not given every year also. It is dependent on the management whether it wants to give or not give. And whenever it is given, then it is booked at that point of time. And these are not very big amounts. Some very fancy amounts are there that it will disturb your P&L badly.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Gunjan Prithyani from JP Morgan. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for taking my questions. Most of my questions have been answered. I just have one or two follow-ups. On the demand side, you mentioned that it is essentially the tier 4, tier 5 or rural which is driving the demand. Has there been any change in the government spending on infra or that PMAYG scheme that you've seen? Is that kind of capex also coming back to the market now?
Yeah, it is coming back. Right now we can see that, but again it has taken a little bit of a pause because somehow the disbursement of money is not happening from these projects, and the contractors have again taken a little bit of backseat. I think it might take another 15-20 days. They will come back to the market.
So if the idea I'm trying to essentially get is that let's say if some of these larger cities, because of rising COVID cases or lockdowns, may not see a comeback immediately, and plus the labor issues, you are feeling reasonably confident that given the momentum that we've seen in some of these smaller cities and rural markets, plus the government programs, we should be reasonably able to match the demand of last year for the remainder of the year. What's lost is lost, I get that point. But for the remainder of the year, is that the sense you're getting when you're looking at the market environment?
So that is, there are very diverse, opinions in the industry, but we are clear about it that we somehow got to manage and retain the positions what we have in our markets, in our own places, and without without having to bleed or anywhere in terms of prices, because prices is not something which is negotiable now with us. So we will try to see that our volumes don't get impacted anywhere. Now the only effort is on the volume side. We have to make that.
Thank you. Participants, due to limitation of time, may we request you all to please limit your questions to one per participant. The next question is from the line of Raghav Maheshwari from Asian Market Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon. Thanks for the opportunity. Sir, what percentage of your dispatches are directly to dealers from the plant?
Okay, so it is close to, you can say, almost 70%, 65 to 70%. 60%. In central India, it is close to about 80%. In Madhya Pradesh, it will be close to 80%.
Okay. This is directly to the dealers, bypassing the godowns and the C&F?
Yeah. Yes. So basically, the invoicing happens at the warehouse, but the material straight goes into the shop of the dealer from the plant.
Sir, this is general situation or this is COVID situation?
No, this is our strength.
Okay.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sanjay Nandi from Ratnavali Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good noon, sir. Can you just share the production status in the first month of July compared to July 19 last year? Any sort of guidance, sir?
Right now, I can't comment on that. The plants are running the way normal course, the way they were running ever. In the month of June, the way they were running right now, they are also running the same manner. Business is usual. I don't think any major change.
And sir, what percentage of rural demand comes from our total demand? Like you said, like we're catering to the rural segment as a whole. So out of this total volume, so what percentage comes from the rural side, sir?
About 35%, 40%.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rishit Shah from Dhanki Securities. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. So one question would be for the quarter gone by, what is the per kilocalorie cost of coal as well as petcoke?
Coal and petcoke combination is close to our fuel cost, I would say, is for 1.3 gigajoule, 1.3 kilocalories.
Okay, sir. And just as you said earlier, so there was an increase in the fly ash cost due to the increase in the procured distance from distance, right?
Pardon?
So there is an increase in the fly ash cost due to the increase in the lead distance. So if you can quantify this increase?
About 150 rupees.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pritesh Sheth from Edelweiss Wealth. Please go ahead.
Yes, sir. Thanks for taking my questions. Most of my questions are answered. But just one question on the volume front, and this is more so for the industry. I want to understand how much of the mass-produced volumes are reflected in this current quarter. So basically, the volumes which are produced in March, but we couldn't sell because of sudden lockdown. So how much of that would have been reflected in April?
That was that we should have sold in the month of March. We sold at least about 1,50,000 less. Okay, we should have sold, because when 23rd, the maximum volumes in March and these things, they happened during the last 10 days of the month. So we lost close to about 150,000 tons of volume during that period.
If your question is with respect to inventory change, if you see our P&L, it was not significant. Even the total amount is 22 million INR in our P&L of the June. So there is no significant change of the inventory of cement from March to June, and we generally do not carry significant amount of cement inventory in warehouse.
So we had only just about 35,000 tons of cement in the warehouse in the month of March. And as I said, that everything moves for us, most of it moves directly to the plant, from the plant to the customer. So you lose out on stocking. So it makes the same thing here.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Amit Murarka from Motilal Oswal. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Good afternoon, everyone. My question was around cost. So in this quarter, there has been a substantial reduction in cost, both on employee as well as in other expenses. So I just wanted to understand, which are the areas the cost reduction has come from, and also, is this only a temporary reduction, or what is the split between temporary and structural reduction in this cost?
So in the month, there has been some voluntarily reduction which has taken place, reduction in the manpower cost, some because of the circumstances, and it is a temporary change. It is not, and going forward only we will decide whether these changes will be long term or not term. But at the moment, it was a very, very short term. For the time being, our people volunteered to take a small cut here and there, and that's what is reflected now here.
And on the other expenses side, even there the decline was quite sharp. So I understand the travel would have gone down. I think promotional spends have been low across the industry. But beyond that, if there has been any other reductions?
I think because of the advertising spends have to go down, because you can't do anything. But where do you advertise? So you can't venture out into the market. So there is nothing there. Going forward, we'll have to some spending will happen in the second and the next quarter, 3 quarters.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Sumangal Nevatia from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. I just missed the capex number for the year, and the second part is now since our major capex is behind us, we start accumulating cash. Is there any consideration to increase dividend payouts or to help preserve for future expansion?
I think we have given a very recommended a very good dividend. I think better than I think this will be one of the highest dividends we have recommended. So far it is an increase, and it is a progressive, I would say. The trend has been progressive. So I think we should contain ourselves with this once the share, of course it is dependent on the shareholders approving it at the AGM. I think we should not expect too much at this juncture. But yes, later on, we'll see later on. Let the board. These are prerogatives of the board.
And Sumangal, replying to your question on the capex side, we always follow the principle of carrying out the replacement and sustainable capex on continuous basis. Generally, we follow that it should be in the range of around 40% of our annual depreciation, and during current year also we continue with the same policy, so that there should not be any lag effect in the future year. If you defer some capex today, ultimately then the next year you need to incur more. So we decided that we will continue with our capex plan during the fiscal year 2021 as we do in past.
So around 40-50 crores will be from there. And anything else this year? We start spending towards solar, etc.
I don't think right now. This solar is something which is not a capex item, because it is going to be on a BOT sort of a thing arrangement. So it will be the vendor will be supplying us with the power at 25 years at a certain fixed price.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Dhaval Joshi from Sundaram Mutual Fund. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so thanks for the opportunity again. So just one basic question, sir, on pricing. At which price level, I mean, per bag, do you see that, competition might come from the other states? Approx?
Dhaval, this, right now also we are loaded with, at this price also there is an overload of supplies which is coming from outside. So it's a very heavy feeling about it, not something comfortable.
Okay. Or let's put it this way, I mean, what is your, Q1, so this quarter on an average, pricing per bag, roughly around? I mean, best brands, I mean, top to top 3 brands.
I don't know, average would be about 365 to 70 rupees.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, due to time constraints, we will be taking the last 2 questions. We take the question from the line of Prateek Kumar from Antique Stock Broking. Please go ahead.
Hello. Yeah, good afternoon, sir. So just touching base on pricing, I think you answered that you suggested that there's flat pricing as of now in current month. So how has the prices fallen or behaved from the peak which we had in May in your market?
So, that time, that was an artificial pricing because it went up beyond 400 rupees, 420, 430 also in certain markets it went up. But it was not sustainable because once the more material which started coming from the neighboring states, that pulled it down to bring it down to about this 365, 70 range. The prices right now in the market, if you look at it, the bandwidth is very good. Okay, so you can get cement in central India as low as 280 rupees to 380 and 390 and 400 also.
All right. And sir, similarly on fuel prices, what would be average fuel price which we have had like in Q1? In terms of
about 350 odd. The fuel price only, not per ton.
1 rupees, 1.3 per kilocalorie. That is the average price.
1.3 per CV.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Pulkit Patni from Goldman Sachs. Please go ahead.
So thanks a lot for taking my question. So just trying to understand, demand coming from tier 3, tier 4 cities and mostly from the trade segment. Now, when you have demand coming from non-trade, there is a sense of continuity because it goes into a project which will last for, 28 months or 36 months versus this rural demand which can come very quickly and also part of it disappear very quickly. So just to get a sense, how do you look at, the right mix? And do you think that this kind of rural demand that is coming right now because, a lot of money is getting thrown at rural projects, Narega, is this something that you think could actually sustain for a longer period? What would be your qualitative comments on that?
So, you asked me that, if you look at the traditionally history of cement industry, retail demand has never vanished. Okay, it is always, which has taken an upswing and downswing is the non-trade segment. So if that answers your question, then, normally, invariably, we have seen that across the country, you look at it, it's the non-trade which fluctuates. The government investment is close to about 20%, 15 to 20% of the demand which is on infrastructure which is coming in. That takes a big swing. And 15 to 20%, if that happens, then it will affect the indirect other channels. So you have these other builder segments and things like that. So you can say about 30% of your business is always at risk if you are into a bigger quantum of non-trade, depending on your percentage of non-trade.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Chintan Sheth from Sameeksha Capital. Please go ahead.
Thanks for the opportunity, sir. Only one question on the Mysore Cement. As the management is already, consulting and managing the day-to-day operations there in terms of guidance, any plans strategically to merge that business with us?
Mysore? Which one? Mysore is already...
Mysore Cement. that is the sister concern of Heidelberg. Second,
that is Zuari. Zuari. Are you talking
Zuari?
Yes,
Yes,
Zuari.
Zuari.
Okay.
Sorry.
Zuari is right now standalone company. Right now, it does not really making sense to merge these two companies because it is not going to add any value to the shareholders. But the day when we see that it can add some value to our shareholders, we will definitely take it up.
But there are some synergies in the southern plant where, in terms of cost as well as market, which can increase the overall size of the business and then derive the benefit of scale.
That does not really. These are two different geographies. It does not really bring in too much of synergies. Whatever the synergies in terms of operational efficiencies were there, they have been complied with. They have been implied in both the companies. So the benefits of both these companies now, they operate at a certain level of operational excellence, whereby those synergies have already been harnessed. But in terms of market synergies, we will not get anything.
I think, Chintan, we need to see this question from the government regulatory point of view also, because there are two regulation or the law which is also has big role to play for taking this decision. One is the shareholding pattern, because the Zuari Cement is the 100% held by the group, and in the listed company HPL it is around 70%. And regulation doesn't allow more than 75% shareholding by the promoter, which is the one hiccup at this moment. And second thing is the more related to cost side. The current MMDR Act doesn't allow transfer of mines or the change of mining names at this moment. And if you go for that thing, then you need to pay additional 80% royalty amount, which is a direct cost to the company. So we don't foresee at this moment, considering the two regulations, that it is beneficial for the shareholder in large to merge those companies.
Yes, thank you. Very useful, sir. Thank you, and all the best.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to Mr. Vaibhav Agarwal for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you. On behalf of Phillip Capital, I would like to thank the manager of Heidelberg Cement for the call, and also many thanks for joining the call. You may now conclude the call. Thank you very much, sir.